What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Heroes for Hire podcast. We are back again with Hero Zero to talk one comic book character. As we do every single week, we talk their good points and their bad points, and we generally just give you a bit of a rundown of everything to do with that character. Now, I am joined as always by my best man, Mr. Sean Mead. Sean, how's it going?
I'm great, Connor. It's good to be back. It's been too long.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had a bit of a situation on Monday in that I was dead. I had been murdered.
Yeah. Your soul left your body for a little while. And I, through a series of shady deals, got it back.
I was suspicious you had poisoned me, to be honest.
Yeah. I was like, I'll take over the podcast, and then I realised I don't want that. I don't want that at all.
You realised the work, and you were like, actually
let's wind the clock back on this
started
one, boys.
Slowly giving me the antidote over the past few days.
I nursed you back to health lovingly the whole time.
So, I mean, if anyone doesn't know the story, is Monday we were meant to have our Superman review, and unfortunately, I actually went to see Superman, and then the day after I woke up that morning, and I thought I was going to die, and I lost my voice completely and just basically had a massive temperature and a fever for like 6 days.
Because of all the hooting and hollering you were doing.
I was screaming and dancing at that. I was licking all the guardrails as well. That probably had something to do with it. So I was obviously unwell. So our Superman review will be coming out on Monday. We apologise. We did put out a Patreon Pirates of the Caribbean episode from last year, if you want to go check that out.
To go hand in hand with last month's other Pirates of the Caribbean review.
Yeah, so if you heard the review for number 2 and you want to hear me shit on 3, I mean, please, go to the Patreon.
And if you want to hear me get unreasonably angry and personal about how I feel about these films.
Yeah. So yeah, that is coming out on Monday. Once again, apologies. It's just the way it worked out. But Sean, because we were missing Monday, we couldn't get our Superman fix. What I decided to do was, for this Hero Zero this week, I'm going to cover one of the most confusing, one of the most fucked up, one of the most ridiculous backstories and origins in comic book history. I'm going to be covering Superman's cousin, Supergirl.
Okay, so I know pretty much nothing about Supergirl, to be honest with you. I know she exists and she's his cousin, and that's it.
And I think a lot of people are kind of in the same, but obviously you had the TV show on the CW that was very good rendition of what the character and what it's all about, but I think a lot of people are just like, that's Superman's cousin, she's got the same powers, blah blah blah. But once you delve into it, it's one of the maddest and just strangest backstories and retcons and just changing things constantly until nothing works and then having to start again.
Because she has been around for fucking ages as well.
Oh,
right?
Forever. So, before we get into the report, I will say, if this is your first episode, you don't have to do anything. Just chill out. If it's your second or above, we'd really appreciate 5 stars, a like, a follow, a share. We're currently going for 200 5-star reviews on Spotify before the winter solstice or my death. So they're the 2 options.
Whichever comes first. And look, they might be intertwined in some kind of sacrifice scenario. But we'll see.
Also, it's not lost on me that I just got my voice back and now I'm tackling Supergirl was a mistake.
Hey, I said, Connor, do an easy one this week. And you said, no.
Should have went with the Penny Plunderer again.
Let's do Penny Plunderer one more time. Do Chip, fuck it. Who cares?
So to get into the report, right? Supergirl reminds me of Psylocke. And
damn, okay, we have a hard out today. So
we do, and so I understand that, Sean, but I'm going to need to stick with me. This is going to be a different bit of a report, because I didn't really do storyline based. Normally we go, this is the origin, this is what some of the stories she's been involved in, kind of thing. You can't do that with Supergirl, because origin, this is a story she's involved in, retcon. Origin, this is a story she's about retcon.
Yeah. So, it's almost easier to talk about what the writers wanted her to be at any given time.
Exactly, Sean. So, Supergirl is a mantra that has been used by several different characters over the years. Multiple different Supergirls have appeared. Wow. All of them are not liked except for one.
Interesting. Great start.
the one that everyone knows, which is Ciara Lawler, which is Superman's cousin. So, soon after Superman's conception, DC started toying with the idea of creating a Supergirl character, because we got Superman, we gotta have a Supergirl. During the Golden Age, DC published a number of stories, imaginary or in continuity, where Lois Lane or Lana Lang gained superpowers, called themselves Superwoman or Supergirl or even Power Girl at the time, and they did well.
And that lasts for an issue or two, maybe, and then status quo. Exactly.
So, for even example, in Superboy in 1949, there was a Supergirl called, I think, Lucy of Borgonia, I think was the name. And she only made one appearance, but she was like a baseline normal human, pretended to have powers with Superboy's help. It was just a little bit of a story. But at the beginning of the Silver Age, DC decided to gauge whether or not fans wanted to see a Supergirl character. So, thus, a new temporary Supergirl debuted in Superman 1, 2, 3. The Supergirl was created when Jimmy, there it is, you're going to like this story, Jimmy Olsen, ladies' man Jimmy Olsen, was given a wish-granting mystical totem staff and wished that Superman might find a super female partner.
What an absolute bro Jimmy Olsen is.
He gets given the magical powers to do anything. One wish. And he's like, I wish my bro had a woman. That's all I wish.
I wish Superman wasn't such a fucking incel.
This big fucking virgin finds someone who likes him. Let's get this going. Because Jimmy fucks. You know
Jimmy Olsen fucks hard, as we've learned recently.
He was probably in the middle of just some serious sessions going on in his house. He was I don't need it. I don't need any more wishes. It's all come true.
I've got the perfect life right now. But my boy Clarke.
So Supergirl materialised out of nowhere, possessing the same strengths, weaknesses as Superman, and then she later sacrificed herself to save Superman from a meteor. Jimmy wished her out of existence before she died from kryptonite poisoning. So
is that better?
He put her out of her misery like a dog.
But she never existed, technically.
But he was having sex at the time, so he was a bit distracted.
True. He was with all of the people around him, of course.
However, that issue of Superman sold very well, so DC tasked Mary Marvel creator Otto Binder and artist Al Plastino
to give Jimmy Olsen more wishes.
Yeah, they completely went the wrong direction. Jimmy needs more women. Give him more. So they decided that it's done very well. There's an audience. We're going to create Supergirl. So in Action Comics 252 in May of 1959, debuted the primary and best known version of Supergirl, which was Ciara Lawler, Superman's Kryptonian cousin. So the origin was that born in Argo City, which is a Kryptonian city that survived the destroyed Krypton.
How?
Sean's already making a face. She was sent to Earth by her parents when kryptonite radiation threatened the survivors of the place.
So not all of Krypton was destroyed originally. Yeah. Interesting.
I assume just Superman's house.
His parents just really hated him and just lied and just sent him away.
They just made it up. There wasn't actually any problems. Designed to appeal to young female readers, Ciara had several traits that set her apart from Superman. She's younger, she's more inexperienced, therefore she has some flaws, maybe she's short-tempered, she's a little impatient, prone to some mistakes. She was also a true immigrant who struggled to adapt to Earth culture, in contrast to her cousin, who arrived as a toddler when he came to Earth, so he's a baby.
That's an interesting thing. It was like he was brought up like, here's how to be a citizen of Earth. But she has to learn all of that.
She's slightly older. So Supergirl proved to be popular among fans, generating a mostly positive reaction. So then Supergirl comics started getting set up. And
can you imagine, by the way, if like Supergirl were introduced today? And the fucking war that would cause.
Well, obviously, because girls can't have things shot.
No, of course. The comics are for boys and boys only.
I mean, it's cool. Let's just introduce loads of them. There was Superboy, there was Supergirl. Because the thing is, right, so they had the Bat family. And we talked about this a little bit in the Tempest report or Aqualad report, in which in the 50s and 60s they were like, everybody has to have a family. Everybody has to have like just some sort of group. And that you can kind of use comics for, because then you can have like the main hero, and then you can have the Bat Family comics, or the Superman family comics, or the Aqua family comics, as well alongside the main hero comics.
Yeah, and there's all these other dynamics and stories you can tell with that. And also people just like seeing, here's Superman, but also a small Superman.
Exactly. So she was then adopted by Fred and Edna Danvers, became a member of the Legion of Superheroes, got her first romances, enemies, and her own sidekicks. She graduated high school, got enrolled in college, just general story stuff back then, because she's a teenager, she's going through all that stuff.
Yeah, and I guess you have like Clarke is like 30 and has a job and a steady girlfriend and is the best superhero in the world.
Yeah, and knows the man who fucks the most.
Yeah, James Olsen.
James Fuckboy Olsen. However, it's generally considered that Superman's Bronze Age started around the 1970s, around 1970, and Supergirl went through a lot of changes during the transition from the 60s to the 70s.
Didn't we all?
It was a difficult time. Ciara graduated college, moved to San Francisco, started working as a junior photographer for a news station. I mean, like,
it's a family business, I guess.
Yeah. Starting with Adventure Comics, nearly, I think it was $3.97. She constantly changed costumes until settling for the uniform she would wear during most of that era. She gained new enemies, such as, I always butcher this, Nostalgia Looter. Nostalgia Looter.
So another one of the Luthers.
Yes. Starfire and Night Flame, and was depowered for a while, during which she resorted to wearing an exoskeleton to fight crime.
That's a great moment in any hero's career, where they lose their powers and have to get a robot to do it.
Yeah, and like, the thing is, right, so she's getting involved in all these stories. It's a very popular comic book, and unfortunately then DC started cancelling all the books featuring Superman's supporting cast, because the new plan instead was that they would have one superhero have their main comic, just due to dwindling sales, and also this is where they're going. So instead of having Supergirl, then Superman, then Superboy, then Jimmy Olsen, if they wanted to have their own comics, or Lois Lane, what they're going to do is Superman gets a comic, and then everybody else gets an 80 or 100 page comic to supplement, where they're all just kind of together. And everybody gets to go with, and then you have both simultaneously. It was kind of like the family thing, but this also included everybody that wasn't Superman.
Right, yeah. So like, main Superman story, and then all of the Superman adjacent characters are collected in one book.
Exactly. So inevitably, in March of 1974, Supergirl was unceremoniously evicted from her own comic after just 9 issues, and then instead lumped in with Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane in a new 100-page bi-monthly anthology.
So bi-monthly, is that twice a month or once every 2 months?
Once every 2 months, I'm pretty sure.
Damn. It's tough.
Someone correct me if that's wrong. I just don't know English. Superman Family Volume 1 was then published, and it was unfortunately then cancelled.
After one? After only one?
There was a few issues of it. I think it was like 200 issues of it. So, I mean, they got through quite a lot. And it went for nearly 8 years, I think. However, Supergirl's environment and supporting cast changed each time a new creative team took over. And this is the problem with Supergirl. It's one of my starting. Sean, I haven't even got... This is, up until this point, it's easy. This report's fucking rock solid.
Yeah, I was thinking it's fairly straightforward so far.
When Crisis appears in 86, that's when we start running into some crisis. But up until this point, this is the start of, there's something wrong here, because every time a new creative team took over, she was given a different thing to do, which would never happen for most other characters. So she quits her photographer work, she enrolls in college to take drama classes, then she worked as a student advisor, then a soap opera actress. Each time a new writer came aboard, he was allowed to write what he knew. So when writer Jack C. Harris had access to a soap opera production, suddenly she became a soap opera actress. When writer Paul Kupperberg took over, he moved the comic books to Chicago because he had lived in Chicago in real life for a few years.
Like, that was the time in comics. It was just put him somewhere.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, like that's such a weird way of, like, nothing is planned out for the character. It's just, let's do whatever.
Exactly. And so in 1976, DC decided to create the Supergirl from Earth 2. And Earth 2 Supergirl would be, the creators were Jerry Conway, Rick Estrada and Wally Wood, and they came up with a little known character, otherwise known as Power Girl. And it says here, has a very distinctive costume.
Am I allowed to Google the Power Girl costume?
You don't know who Power Girl is, Sean? Come on.
I have an idea, but I don't want to assume.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
She had a distinctive costume.
She did. It is distinctive.
You can't take that away. So the idea of Power Girl was that Power Girl was Supergirl from Earth 2. So she's Kara Zor-El, but she's Earth 2.
Okay. And she exists in the main... I'm getting ahead of myself.
Oh, Sean, no, we haven't got to the fucked up bit. Hang on. So far we've got Supergirl, and that's fine. And now we got Power Girl, Earth 2 Supergirl. Everything's going grand.
Separate Earths, different people, all good. Love it.
Yeah. After the cancellation of the Superman family, DC launched the daring new adventures of Supergirl, later shortened to Supergirl. Right? And they wrote her as a strong and confident woman away from her cousin Shadow, and it's kind of like regarded as the pre-crisis Supergirl's high point, which is the only reason I'm mentioning it, because some low points are about to happen.
A bunch of stuff's gonna happen once all the worlds start exploding.
This is where I need you all to stick with me. Because, nonetheless, Superman's books had been declining and selling poorly for a long time. Supergirl was considered expendable by several DC creative types. So they kind of decided that, given her failure of her also 1984 live-action feature, which is the movie that came out in 1984, that was called Supergirl.
Never knew that existed.
You didn't know that? Oh, I mean, sure. No. You got to watch all the Reeve Supermans and then Supergirl. That's the order.
They're equal in quality? Is that the...
all equal. Number 1 is the same as number 4 in terms of Superman, yes.
God. Wow. Can't
Take
wait.
that to the bank. So the 1984 movie doesn't get favourable reviews, and they were already thinking of making her expendable. Then suddenly they're like, oh, now we can't get rid of her. So they got a handwritten note from Dick Giordano to then DC President Jeanette Kahn, and they asked if they could kill Supergirl in the upcoming Crisis event. She initially said no, but then she changed her mind and gave the go-ahead. So, in Crisis on Infinite Earths, October 1985, Marv Wolfman decided that Supergirl sacrificed herself to save her cousin and the universe from the Anti-Monitor, and was mourned by everyone. Still, when the universe was rebooted just after this, also, if anyone doesn't know, DC or Marvel, big comic book companies, every 15, 20 years do a crisis event just to reset everything. A
big slate clearing kind of event where they can reset the status quo and just say this is normal now.
You have characters like the Penny Plunderer who are just knocking around, but if you do a crisis, then you can just say, well, they never existed. This is a new world.
Yeah, exactly. And there's all these different versions of characters in different universes that are really popular. They can all just be in the main comics now.
Yeah. And so she's mourned by everyone, except when the universe is rebooted, nobody even remembers that she existed. And in an interview, Marv Wolfman assured people that everyone agreed with his decision and there was zero backlash. However, in a back issue, Jerry Ordway reported that fans were actually mad, and Marv Wolfman eventually admitted that there was some negative feedback to what had happened.
Bold move on Marv, but I guess it was the time where he could just be like, nah, it's fine, everyone loves it.
he came out and said that in 2006, but then it was come out, yeah. Eventually he was like, yeah, I'd say maybe 90% agreed or understood.
Every time he's asked, it loses a percent.
Like, he says 90% either approved or understood. Now, I think that's different, Marv. I think they're different things.
Very different points of view.
Yeah. So, Ciara Lawler was officially exiled from continuity for 18 years after this. And this is because that DC decided that Superman was going to be the only survivor of Krypton. They didn't like the fact that there was more than one, and they thought that it made him look worse. So that's why they got rid of everybody. So it became a situation where Superman was his homeworld's sole survivor. So officially, Ciara Lawler never existed and couldn't ever be mentioned in comic books.
Really interesting. Because, that's what Superman was from the start. He was But he's more interesting when he has other Kryptonians around him.
I mean, I wouldn't put 40 years of writing into her to then wipe her out.
Wouldn't just throw that all away, no.
In Power Girl number 2, they then decided that Power Girl was spared, so she was still in comic books because however, she was no longer Ciara Lawler from Earth 2. She was no longer Ciara. Her backstory was changed, that she was now a granddaughter of an Atlantean sorcerer called Arion.
Wait, Power Girl's Atlantean?
Now she is, yes.
Somehow makes less sense, but okay.
Because they wanted to keep Power Girl, but because at least I suppose Power Girl
outfit, of course.
It's the distinctive outfit, but mostly I think because Power Girl doesn't have super in the name. So, new readers won't know initially if you just change it. So they just changed it so that she was the granddaughter of an Atlantean sorcerer instead.
And so she can fly and do most super person things.
Now, over the next 2 decades, DC would try to then replace Ciara Lawler with one alternate Supergirl after another, with little success, back to back to back.
Wow. So it didn't work the first couple of times, so now they're just going to keep trying. So
originally, they're not allowed to mention anybody else from Krypton. That's like the 1985 mandate that, Supergirl's dead, no longer exists. Superman's the sole survivor. And then by 1990, that had kind of softened. And then they were like, well, maybe we could bring somebody who's Kryptonian in. Supergirl was a big name, but we've killed Ciara Lawler. She was the problem.
We've written her completely out of existence at this point.
Yeah. Then they decided that there was going to be another version of Supergirl. However, John Byrne, who DC hired to reboot Superman at the time, when they brought it in, there was several colouring errors in the issue. Supergirl being a redhead, when she should have been a blonde, tipped a hand and made the story probably even more confusing than it was even meant to be.
Right. So now she doesn't look like Supergirl anymore.
So in Superman Volume 2, number 16, in April of 1989, they debuted a character otherwise known as Matrix, which is shown a protoplasmic, shape-shifting Supergirl from a pocket dimension.
Way easier than just having someone else survive Krypton.
So now Supergirl is played by a character called Matrix, which, cannot stress it up, shape-shifting, protoplasmic, and from a pocket dimension, much easier to understand for newer readers. The kids will love it.
But there's other shapeshifters that aren't from a pocket dimension. Why not just make her one of those?
At the same time, the Legion of Heroes writers were facing another trouble. Supergirl had been part of the Legion since 1961, but she now officially didn't exist.
It's awkward.
Keith Giffen wanted Superboy and Supergirl in his books, but DC wouldn't allow him to retroactively bring him back. So he reset the universe twice in order to bring back a character called Laurel Gand, who had Kara Zor-El's same powers, personality and backstory, except for the fact she was actually a different alien race known as the Daxamites and called herself Andromeda. Andromeda.
Andromeda.
When I'm reading it, that makes sense.
And so that's a writer working around a loophole of just being like, hey, it's not technically from Krypton, but she's
I reset the universe twice. Looks the exact same, but it's a different person.
Calls herself Supergirl as well, or Andromeda?
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah. Leave it at that, and then at least fans, they'll get on board eventually, you know?
In 1996, DC then hired writer Peter David to then redo what had been redone and what had been redone and then what had been redone to retool Matrix. Because, Sean, and you're not going to like this, Peter David thought, I assume wrongly, that a shape-shifting blob of matter was not relatable to the kids.
Look, as someone who's not a shape-shifting blob of matter themselves, I would agree.
That's exactly what a shape-shifting blob of matter would say.
Hey, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about
it. So, Matrix, the Supergirl at the time, in 1996, merged with a troubled human girl called Linda Danvers to save her life. And so then she got a new book, because now she's Linda Danvers, not... It's just... Yeah. Now we're on to our... Hang on, how many Supergirls is that? I think we're on our fourth at this point.
It's fourth or fifth. And like... So, but it's the blob inside of a regular human woman now.
Yeah. Now, the sales for Supergirl's fourth solo book were non-existent. And as Kara Zor-El was the only Supergirl the comic book readers read, cared about, and I assume understood.
Because she had years of stories under her belt.
Makes sense. As a last-ditch effort to save his book from cancellation, he wrote Supergirl Many Happy Returns, where the original, pre-crisis Supergirl returned, briefly, to the main universe. Peter David had plans in case his attempt was successful. Although Many Happy Returns failed to save the book, sales were very good, suggesting that there was interest in the original Supergirl if they ever pulled their heads out of their own arses and just agreed to go back.
Yeah, and just to nail that down, only the original Supergirl is all that people care about.
Every time there's even a hint that Kara Zor-El comes back, sales go up. And then every time they get rid of her, Supergirl sales plummet.
And while you're doing that, you're also just devaluing the name Supergirl every time you bring her in.
Still, Sean, DC decided that was not enough, right? They've heard of people. They've seen the numbers. They know what's going on. Mm-hmm. So they attempted to introduce another non-Kryptonian Supergirl called Sor-El. Created by Stephen T. Siegel and Scott McDaniel in 2003. Unfortunately, Sor-El was even more unpopular than the previous ones among fans and sacrificed herself to save the future by erasing her existence from history in comic books soon after.
Is there any more undignified end to a character in comics than just being fucking you never existed?
Lasted 1 year. I think it was less than 12 months.
That's shocking. Even for DC at that time.
But then, Sean, we come to 2004. And finally, Dan DiDio. Now, since 86 to 04 is one of the worst series of decisions made in regards to one character. That they made a bad decision and they just could not go back on it. They just were like, no, they're going to keep digging down, right? And it took a man called Dan DiDio to decide that Supergirl's backstory and origin involving protoplasmic beings and Earth angels had become slightly too convoluted and confusing, and another Supergirl was needed. It was also decided that Power Girl, whose popularity and relevance had suffered due to the fact that they had changed her origins completely, would get her original backstory restored as well. So, Power Girl's Atlantean origin retconned back out, and they give her back the Kryptonian stuff. And And then in 2004, Jeff Loeb and Michael Turner decide to bring Kara Zor-El back to the mainstream universe.
For good this time.
For good this time. Now, and they decide to publish a Supergirl solo book again. She comes back in Superman Batman, I think 19 or 20, as a launching point. And Supergirl Volume 5, Number 1, hits the shelves in October of 2005. It sold incredibly well.
Weird how that works.
I can't see the numbers. I don't understand it. We gotta
Chief,
kill her
I
again.
don't get it.
They just didn't understand protoplasma.
Turns out it was too steep of a learning curve.
The kids are just dumb. At the same time, Power Girl's real Kryptonian origin was hinted in the Power Girl Power Trip storyline and fully restored during the Infinite Crisis event that happened as well. So, now we're back to where we were 30 fucking years ago. Right? After a load of shit. But people are now more confused and less trusting of DC and Supergirl.
Yeah, because it's like they could just wipe the slate clean again at any moment.
But it was around this time that they started bringing in people who were always huge fans of Kara, and then she joins the Teen Titans and then the Justice League of America for the first time in her history. So they actually started bringing her into teams.
That's cool. And it's a point now where the writers who are writing the comics are the ones who grew up reading Supergirl,
and they want to do the right one. They know.
Yeah.
I think that's actually an interesting point, because say in the 80s and 90s, it's the same group of people who made the original decision. Yeah. And it looks bad if they go back on it. But then by say maybe 03, 04, 05, a new host of writers and people who are in charge have come in and grown up. And they're like, oh, I remember Kara from the 70s. Yeah, she was really good.
Yeah, I'd like her back.
Yeah, let's bring her back. So that's how she comes back. And one of the runs in, I think it was 08, they do a run that is voted as one of Supergirl's best runs ever, clocking in at number 69 on the Hollywood Reporter's 100 Best Superheroes Comic Books list.
Nice.
Yeah, so they immediately bring... This was done by Sterling Gates and Jamal Igle, and this is Supergirl Volume 5, number 34, which is there. And he had a very clear vision. So Sterling Gates comes in, and he said he became a massive Supergirl fan when he read Crisis on Infinite Earths when she originally died.
God damn. He's like, God, I'd love to see more of this cat. Oh, no.
The two things he cited as reasons why he wanted to do Supergirl in 2008 was the fact that the 1984 film, which he said he grew up on, and Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is where they killed her. And he was like, I love that character. Of course I want to bring her back.
That's amazing. That man's whole career built to that point where he's like, oh, bringing back my favourite.
Yeah, and so this is an exact quote. He says, one of the things I talk about when we talk about Supergirl is she has lost a lot. She's strong because of those losses. She loses her planet, she loses her parents, then as a teenager, that's a hard road. So normally any teenager would be just awash with grief, and that grief would probably colour every action. Supergirl comes to terms with that and decides that no one else should have to deal with that grief. So she's going to put on the costume to try and make everybody else's life better on her adopted planet Earth, instead of just being held down by the grief, which is actually kind of Batmanish. It's kind of Batmanish if you want to get into it.
Yeah, it's like a Superman Batman Peter Parker hybrid.
Yeah, so she uses the trauma to make sure nobody else goes through that trauma, instead of Superman's origin, which is... Superman, I suppose, has trauma in the origin, but it's more like he comes to Earth as a baby, so he doesn't have that trauma kind of... She's a teenager when it happens.
Yeah. So Superman is you're raised with the values of hey, do the best you can to help people, but he can just do so much more.
Exactly. So then there's also a different storyline called Supergirl, Who is Superwoman? And in that storyline, I think that's one of my favourite stories that Gates does, because he gets really into Supergirl's mind, expands her cast, and just really delves into her place in the world, which is really cool. And it really delves into her psyche, which I don't think a lot of people had done up until that point. Because I say back in the day, it was just that's Superman's friend. It's Supergirl. Yeah. She's got a magic horse.
Forgot about the horse.
Forgot about the horse.
How could I forget the horse?
Comet. I remember Comet.
No, I blocked it out, weirdly enough.
Yeah, there is a storyline where Supergirl has sex with a horse, but that's But he's a man at the time, so it's fine.
Listen, I don't love it.
She doesn't know he's a man. No, she doesn't know he's a horse.
No, he's a horse. Thinks he's a man.
Yeah, so he tricks her. So there's actually it's not great.
Pretty fucked up.
Yeah, so but then 2011-2012 happened, Sean. Flashpoint, New 52.
Flashpoint.
So they decide
more
to
reboots.
retcon it slightly more. The new Ciara is the new origin, and this is the one that they're going with from now on. Is that Ciara is a teenager on her planet, and basically her dad is Superman's dad's brother, and
right.
So her uncle is Superman's dad, and he's like he's Jor-El. So Jor-El is saying to his brother, the planet's going to blow up, and his brother believes him. And so his daughter is like 15, 16. So he brings her down into, I think it's like a basement or into his lab where he has like a pod. And it's her birthday soon. And she's going to be like growing up into like a full adult on the planet. And he's like, I got you a present. Look inside the pod. So she walks in, and there's the Supergirl costume there, which is the reason why she has it. So its storyline explains why she has the suit. Right. But he's like, get into the pod. So she puts it on and immediately knocks her out, puts her into the pod, and sends her several decades orbiting the Earth until crash landing on Earth. So he sends her on her way.
And that's why she arrives so much later than Superman.
Exactly. Yes.
Right.
And she has all of the history of the planet and everything in her head and all that stuff. Although Superman happened to pod her shortly after her landing, Supergirl wasn't sure that she could trust him or his claim of being her baby cousin all grown up, because she has no idea what's after happening. And this incarnation was kind of more of a lonely character. Didn't manage to adapt to Earth and was full of anger and grief a lot of the time.
I never got like a goodbye or anything like that. Was just sent away.
Yeah, and at the same time, a new Power Girl was created on the Earth 2 line, initially calling herself Supergirl. So you have like both sides now working together. There's also a massive story where she becomes a Red Lantern, which is really fucking cool. So that's Supergirl cool. Becomes a Red Lantern in comic books for a while. And it's all used to give her character development to kind of accept the loss and the trauma that she's gone through as a teenager and try and like do good.
That's pretty good. I love a character that processes grief or trauma or pain through superheroing.
Of course, it's so cool. And what I'm going to finish on is in October 2016, DC published Supergirl Rebirth #1, and it was written by Steve Orlando. And Steve Orlando then comes out, and this is his exact quote. He's like, I love being a fan. Probably my first live interaction with Ciara was when she debuted on Superman the Animated Series, where she's like a kid in the Deanie Tim series. And it was fresh, and I've seen it at the same time, and I loved it. I loved the energy. And her unfaltering ability to stay positive despite the tragic circumstances that brought her to Earth. That's what really made me connect to Ciara. Her history is in many ways even more tragic than her cousins, with her being a teenager when she left Krypton and having real tangible things that she's left behind, memories that she can remember. And she
fully lost a life.
Exactly. And she connects with that. She tries her hardest not to let her weigh her down or weigh other people down. I think her tenacity is something we can all aspire to. And really, superheroes, we want them to be aspirational figures. So Ciara to me is all about positivity in the face of adversity, and through her experience that a wealth of understanding. So that's how he viewed the character. That's like probably the best description of her as a character.
She sounds really cool. I think it would be better if she was made of protoplasm, though.
Or some sort of Earth Angel.
Yeah, just is there any room for that in James Gunn's DCU?
It's anything to be said for another Earth Angel. No.
Just bring him back, you know? We need more Earth Angels around
She's
here.
appeared in so many things on screen, which is fascinating for a character with such a fucked up backstory. People know her, but they don't really know the character and the history of the character. They know Supergirl.
Yeah, it's like she exists.
Yeah, and And she's appeared in basically everything, like Smallville. She's appeared in Justice League Unlimited, Justice League the animated show, Superman the animated series. She's had obviously the CW show, the 1984 movie, like so many different things. And in terms of powers and ability, Sean, all of Superman's powers.
Nice, pretty good.
So Superman's powers are, as we've talked about, he's broken. She is also broken.
And they're also on a scale of like, it's whatever the writer decides they need to be able to do.
Just to layer them up, solar energy absorption, heat vision, super hearing, enhanced vision, telescopic vision, X-ray vision, microscopic vision, infrared vision, flight, invulnerability, superhuman strength, speed, stamina, immunity, agility, longevity, super breath, energy projection, time travel. She is fast enough to break the time barrier and travel across the time stream. Sound manipulation, hand-to-hand combat, martial arts, and swordsmanship they throw in there, but I don't know why she'd ever need that.
But if Supergirl comes at you with a fucking sword, you're not gonna...
You're shitting yourself.
You're gonna think twice about robbing that bank.
So that is my report on Supergirl, Sean. An often misunderstood character.
Yeah, and I think just just not known, like what she's about is. Yeah. But she sounds really cool.
Super interested for her movie, by the way, because I think they will get more in depth in terms of like she is not Superman, she is not Hope.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of a different vibe.
Like she is not Hope, she is trauma, overcoming the trauma. She's like, this is why I kind of think of like you'll go to the Batman route rather than Superman.
Yeah, and I have thoughts on that I'll probably share in the Superman report. I mean, if at the start of the movie she says, I'm vengeance, and then one of the bad guys says that they're vengeance at the end, and then she realises her mistake, that she needs to become a hero instead of vengeance. I mean, what? That's a movie. I don't get it. No, I don't think that works for me.
I can see that Supergirl movie, man. I think it's right there.
What if her mother was named Martha?
True. That's pretty good, actually. Write that down. What if she made a pirate or plasm of some kind?
Bring more protoplasm in. Connor, would you like me to take us out?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Thank you everyone for listening to this episode of Hero or Zero. We will be back on Monday with the Heroes for Hire podcast and also Heroes for Hire presents Weird News, and next Friday with another episode of Hero or Zero. Big thank you to everyone over on Patreon, patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast. Link to that is in the description. And there's also the merch store, heroesforhire.ie/shop. Twitter's at Heroes for Hire pod, the 4 is the number 4. Facebook is Detective Divilment's discussion group. Instagram is Heroes for Hire podcast, and the best way to ever help out the show is to tell one human being that we exist.
Just a one, please.
And I think that's about it, Connor.
I'm going to go lie down.
Okay. Fair, you've earned it, bud.
Alright, bye guys.
Bye.